Well, good afternoon, everybody. Another little early edition of Tour Life today. I thought it would be important for us to go a little bit early today because we do have the man of the hour coming on the podcast with us. So very excited to get to that interview. But before, I'm joined here with Gary. We got PGA Mike behind the keys as always. And Yuli may or may not pop in. He was previously going to, but something personal has he's dealing with some personal issues right now. So if he's able to hop on, great. If not, no worries. But we have a fun, exciting episode for you guys. So if you're watching live right now, we are live at 3:10 Eastern. So a little early, but you know what? It's not early where this man is. He's been on the podcast before, and he gets to answer this question a little bit differently now. Got some questions that he gets to answer differently. Your one-time major champion, Calvin Heimburg, joins Tour Life once again, I believe from Finland. Are we over in Finland already?
Yep, I'm currently in Helsinki, and I'll be headed up to Tampere tomorrow.
So did you take you said you took like a championship ferry over? Is that what happened?
Just a normal ferry, but yeah. Yesterday I went to Albert's hometown,
Oh,
and
nice.
he gave us a tour there, and then today hopped on the ferry and got over to Finland.
So I got to ask, I think it's been pretty clear, and I'm sure maybe you weren't aware, but I'm pretty sure from most people, you were at the top of the list of best player to not win a major. How does it feel to finally get that first one?
I mean, it feels amazing. It's something you always want to check off the list, and I've won a bunch of other tournaments, but none with the M next to it. So it's pretty awesome to finally do it.
Now, a lot of us, fans, we make a distinction between majors and elite series events. We make a distinction between majors and even big tournaments that, players feel like, hey, this one matters a little bit more. Does that distinction go with you as well? Does this feel like your biggest win that you've ever had on tour?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is my biggest win. I don't. I mean, while you're playing against the same people every week, I mean, it's like all other sports that have majors and normal tournaments. There's more weight put it on the M. Whether that's fair or not, that's the way we do it. And they hold a little more significance. There's a little more prize money on the table, and they just matter a little more. There's less opportunities to play them.
Were you at this event last year?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some changes that you noticed between last year and this year, it being a major now? Was there anything noticeable that was different from a player standpoint, how they treated you, how they took care of you, and also maybe from a spectator standpoint?
I think the venue was for the most part the same. They treated us pretty amazing last year while we were there. They have a great like warm up and recovery area. They just provide pretty much everything you need while you're there. And I mean, I don't know exactly how it comes across on camera, but the venue is like more set up and put together like a like a normal sporting event that you would normally go to compared to anything else that we really see anywhere else. But yeah, as far as the experience, I think it was probably mostly the same. The course definitely had a few changes, but it also was, mostly the same.
Yeah. It does seem from like the photos and videos, it seems like if someone just showed up there, they would know like, hey, something professional, something serious is happening. Where at maybe some other events that we stop at throughout the year, someone shows up and they're like, why are all these people here?
Yeah.
There's people, but there's not this like professionalism. It's just a bunch of people in a park. That's what it came across from us. And, talking to a couple players now, it does seem like one of the things that they do a really great job of is making you all feel like professional. I do have to
Yeah.
ask, we have been seeing some people post that Ford is giving cars out to players for Worlds this week. Do you know if you're getting a car yet?
I don't think I'm getting a car. I have received no
Okay.
word.
Easy.
Everyone, we need to tweet Ford Finland or something and get to the bottom of it. This man's a major champion coming in. He needs a car. You need to get. Would you drive it if you got one for the week?
Sure.
Okay, we
Yeah.
need everyone start tweeting Ford Finland or Ford Europe right now. We need to make this happen. But that was a nice little touch. I think I saw a post from like Nicholas. Paul also is getting one as well. So that's kind of cool stuff. Okay. Let's talk about the actual final round because I just want to kind of get in your head a little bit of what was going through. It seemed like pretty early on, it had basically narrowed the field. Like going into the round, me and Gary were talking about, which I don't know. Have you guys, Gary, have you met Calvin yet on the pod? Calvin, have you been on the pod since Gary's jumped on?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Gary, meet Calvin. Calvin, meet Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Glad to have you.
So when we were looking at it, we thought there were, I believe, 6 people that could potentially win. So we had Gannon, Isaac, yourself, and then Paul, who was all on lead card. And then we thought AB and Nicholas on the second card. Like if they really popped off and then you top 3 guys all had bad days, maybe they could win it. That was kind of our thought. It seemed very clear early on that Isaac was struggling a little bit, but you and Gannon were playing pretty good, and it was going to come down to one of you 3. Did you get the same kind of feelings going into the back 9 that, you know, your radar maybe kind of locked in a little bit more on what Gannon and Isaac were doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's the final round, and it was close going into it. So I definitely had an idea of what everyone was scoring. I knew I took the lead on hole 9, I believe it was. Isaac kind of had some struggles there on 7 and 8 back to back, and then
Yep.
Gannon threw out of bounds on 9. So yeah, going into the back 9, I felt like I was, in the driver's seat. Um, it's a course where you have to get a lot of birdies, but I knew at that point that I could control my own destiny if I just got a lot of birdies. But I didn't birdie them all. Gannon caught me by hole 14, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hole 14. And then it was kind of just heads up at that point. Unless, him and I both kind of blew up, and then Isaac could have snuck back in there.
Yeah. How we had Ezra on after he won his first, and it was interesting talking to him because he kind of went in the mode of I'm not looking at scores the final round. And then obviously Jude, his brother, was on the bag, and he a couple times down the stretch would like ask him, hey, what do I need here? Do I need birdie or whatever? Right. Especially on a course like that at Des Moines, you've got, a couple decisions to be made on a couple of those holes coming in where you could play a little bit more aggressive or you could play a little bit safer. That seemed like that wasn't the case for you this final round. It seemed like you were checking scores and you were very aware along the way where you were. Talk to me a little bit about maybe why you think some people score check when they're in the lead or have a chance to win, and some people shy away and don't want to have any idea what the scores are.
I'm not sure. I feel like I'm generally pretty aware of what I'm doing and my whole card's doing. Like I can generally tell you like what I'm sitting at relative to the people I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like that's always in the back of my head. But as far as like worrying about people from other cards, um, I don't know. I like at this past tournament I wasn't super worried. I was still playing really good. Like by the time I'd gone through like 12 holes or something, in order for like a Niklas or an AB to be
They ran
on me, they would have had to be playing like absolutely perfect. So I wasn't super worried about that. But I think, it's easy to just kind of work yourself up and kind of by knowing the scores. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know. I feel like I always know just because I'm paying attention to what my card is doing.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're not so much on your phone scrolling down the leaderboard. You're more just paying attention to, Isaac just took a double, just took a bogey.
Yeah.
I just gained like 5 shots on him. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So we get to now where it's pretty much crunch time. It's you and Gannon. Everyone else has pretty much eliminated themselves from winning. And we get to hole 17. You throw a pretty good tee shot on which I would say one of the more difficult, challenging shots required throughout the course. And then Gannon doesn't get off cleanly, misses. I want to say, I don't know how far. Like, was that putt makeable from him? It was hard to tell exactly how far that was. It looked like
Um,
80 feet, maybe. Am I remembering that correctly?
I think he was closer than 80 feet. It
Okay.
was, it was definitely makeable, but it was a long putt
Okay.
for sure,
So
but definitely within his range.
he misses that putt.
Yeah.
What is now going through your head walking up to your birdie putt on 17, knowing now that you have a putt to take a one-shot lead, or sorry, to basically make it to where you kind of almost seal it if you make this
Yeah.
birdie?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was the situation. I knew that that was basically a putt for the win right there, and yeah, I was nervous and rolled my wrist, missed to the right,
Mm.
and yeah, it was just a bad putt. Started thinking more than I needed to.
Yeah. Is there anything that you can think of like to like because we've seen it too, we saw on the same exact hole with Kristen, it looked like she kind of almost had a mental lapse that was just like, her putt was a lot shorter and she missed two back to back. But can you just describe a little bit as to kind of what the feelings are when you step over a putt like that? Because for those that haven't been in that moment, is your mind just racing? Are you just thinking about everything and then you kind of lose focus about what you're trying to accomplish? Is that kind of what's going on? Of where you're just like, oh my God, if I make this, I win a major. And like you're just thinking about all that stuff versus oh, I need to throw it right at this chain.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it was yeah, just definitely extra thoughts that I didn't need to be having, and yeah, I just all of a sudden wasn't really focused on what I needed to do, and I don't know. I guess I hadn't really been in that situation. I mean, really just to win a tournament like that in a while. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just didn't handle it that great there in that exact moment. But
So how fast did you snap out of it? Because now you're walking up to hole 18, which it looked like it was a decent walk uphill as well to get to
yeah,
hole 18's tee. What's going on now? Because at this point, I don't think you had anyone on your bag. I think you were just solo dolo. So
yeah,
is it just all internal talk right now before that final tee shot?
yeah. I mean, definitely just trying to talk myself up. I still, have a one shot lead. I still control my own destiny. It's definitely frustrated with, missing a pretty makeable putt. I struggled with putting, in the first round of the tournament and then missed a few as well in the third. But other than that, I'd putted pretty well. So I was a little frustrated there with myself, but I was just trying to tell myself I was confident, even though hole 18 wasn't really a hole I was super confident in. Just
Really? What were you throwing on
never.
that hole?
I was throwing a Draco. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. Just the drivers I had when I was practicing, I wasn't throwing them very well, and
okay.
I was having more success throwing a slightly slower disc. But even then, it just wasn't a hole I was throwing great relative to the field. So, um, it definitely not the hole I wish I was stepping up to, but I knew it was easy for me to get it in play, and I also knew like my one thing I couldn't do was throw it too far right, and end up with a bogey. So,
So were
um,
you trying to land like 30 feet left of the basket? Was that like if you would have thrown that shot perfectly, where would the disc have landed?
I mean, if I would throw it perfectly, it would be parked. But I
Well,
mean,
well, I'm saying, were you trying to park it there, or were you saying, "Hey, let me give"? Because obviously, you were saying the miss there is left. Because if you turn it
yeah,
over or you throw it too wide, it never comes in. Now all of a sudden, you give Gannon a chance to
yeah,
potentially even like win the thing if
yeah.
he birdies and you bogey. Um, so like we're like, I guess like maybe to me, like
Yeah,
kind of going golf terms, like I'm thinking about aiming perfectly 15, 20 feet left of the basket. Is that the same thing you're trying to do too?
yeah. I mean, I was definitely erring on the side of the left side of that
Okay.
basket. Like I don't know. I wasn't gonna accidentally pull it right and then just lose the tournament outright right there.
Because I wonder that, like, do do you like is there a time and place where you are like focusing in so much on like your landing zone of where, if I put like, are you just looking at the basket and saying, I'm trying to land it near the, I'm talking about like overall here, Calvin. I'm not talking about that last hole because this is, I think, an interesting question. Are you just trying to get close to the basket and you're focusing more on like the height and angle? Or are there times where you're like, I want to land this 10 feet behind the basket, 10 feet left of the basket? Like, are you trying to be that precise with shots? Or a lot of times, are you just more, let me try to hit this gap with this overstable disc on Heiser and it'll kind of get close to the basket and I'll make a putt? How precise are we trying to get with some of these shots?
I think it depends on like if it's wide open, I'm gonna be aiming just to park it. But
Mm,
like if it's if there's obstacles and obstructions, it's like what's my easy like what's the least path of resistance to get like a manageable putt. So it's not always to park it. Sometimes it's just, hey, how do I get it to 25 feet? And if I can get it to 25 feet 95% of the time, why would I take a 30% shot just to park it?
yeah, I love that. All right, so now you've got the long walk. You've seen Gannon. Gannon, you're already locked it. You're already checked off the box. Okay, he's birding this hole.
Yeah,
Um, you're walking to your disc, and I think you're the first to, yeah, I think everyone else was inside of your disc. So you're the first, I think, to go.
yeah.
What is now the thought process? What are we now thinking about? Are we having crazy thoughts? Because I don't know if you did you watch live footage back yet? Have you gone back and watched live coverage?
No, I haven't like seen the live. I've seen like edits of some stuff, but I haven't like seen.
So they did a really I thought they did a really cool package for like us spectators, us viewers, of showing all your close calls. And some of them I even forgot about. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like there were so many times where, I mean, USDGC, you had that putt on 17, it almost goes in, then it rolls OB. You have all these kind of things. Were those thoughts ever popping in your head on that walk of like, oh my God, what if I skip this off the top of the basket and it go like, are you fighting those thoughts at all? Or what are we thinking about on the walk to the putt?
Um, Honestly, I didn't have any thoughts about past tournaments. I think it was all just readying myself for that putt. It was a lot of just, getting myself ready. I just wanted to make sure I gave it a chance. Didn't want to miss low. Want to make sure I put some height under it. And, you know, like honestly, I mean, we get down there and I'm lining it up and there's kind of like a slight little headwind on my putt. And I honestly kind of like that. It kind of helps me keep the putt in the air. So, when it was blowing a little bit at me, it didn't feel like a bad thing. And yeah, I mean, my last thoughts were essentially just give it a chance.
Mm, yeah. I mean, I think that shows right there uh crazy fortitude because a lot of us would just be thinking about, oh my God, I just missed a putt on 17. Oh my, I'm going to miss another putt. Now I'm going to go into like you would start kind of rattling off. And the fact that you're able to just isolate all those thoughts and just focus on the actual basket, the actual putt, it's very, very difficult to do. And I think that's one thing that disc golf is challenging because how slow of a game it is. You know,
Yeah.
there isn't a defender on you, there isn't a shot clock, there isn't something happening to where you just have to like instincts make like you could have stood there. And I think I'm curious, did you feel like you took a little bit longer than normal for that putt? Like just like an extra 2 seconds. Did you feel that or
Mm, no,
did it feel
I don't.
normal
I
to
don't
you?
know. I don't think it felt normal, but I don't know. I also feel like sometimes when you're lining up putts, like concept of time kind of
Yeah.
disappears, and it's hard to really tell.
It
But
felt it felt like an extra like 2 count of just you
okay,
having the disc. And I was like, dude, if he jams this right now, this is going to be wild. Which is actually kind of crazy too, Gary, because I forgot I even said this. Someone in the comments reminded me that we were doing previews because of the time difference, Calvin. So we were doing like recaps right after the rounds. And the last thing I said is, I hope it comes down to 18. I hope Calvin makes a big putt.
Mhm.
And it's kind of crazy that that's actually how it happened. And I mean, no better way to finish a turn. I mean, obviously an ace on 18 would have been insane. But outside of an ace, I think that's the best way, making like a 50 footer or whatever it was on 18 in
yeah.
front of that whole crowd. What were the emotions like? Like, what were the things going through your head when you finally finally won your first major?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess excitement, relief. I don't know, just like everything. I don't know. It's just a lot, a lot of emotions, just happiness. Just awesome to, actually finally do it. And yeah, doing it on a big putt was, crazy. So, and especially in that environment there, we're like right there at the whatever amphitheater or whatever, and it was just so loud. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think the crowd. And did you see Isaac's reaction? Have you
Yeah,
seen videos of his reaction in the back?
yeah, yeah. But I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that just tells you, I mean, obviously one tells you kind of what kind of person you are, that you have so many people rooting for you, fans and players alike, but also shows too, just like coming from a guy like Isaac, who has done it at Worlds, who has done it at Champions Cup, a major champion in his own right, to then seeing you do it. I think that also is just kind of a show of respect of like him getting amped up. He knows how big of a putt that was himself. And I
yeah,
think he was literally doing everything that we were all doing watching it at home. Where
yeah,
it's like, holy crap, he finally did it, and he did it with a massive putt. It was man, it was good TV. It was definitely good TV. I'll say that. A great way to wrap up the event. Um, can we talk about your putting routine a little bit?
Mm.
yeah.
What point? What point did you change it to the darts and then the putt? At what point did that change happen this season?
I think it happened last season.
Oh, really? You
Um,
started doing it last season? Okay.
yeah, I think I started doing it last season. And I don't know, just sometimes you struggle with putting and you just try to tweak something or do something a little different. But for me, it's like my normal miss is low,
Mhm.
and I feel like a lot of times it's like I just get like a limp wrist and it's just like lazy and I don't actually flick the disc, and I don't get the fly. So some of it's just like, I mean, and like one of my things in the past was like raising my arm up just to try to remember I can like move my arm high enough, and then that's kind of like just trying to get my wrist moving so that it's already active and ready to flick the disc. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really serves. It's not like it's anything like my putting motion. It's just a weird twitch or quirk. I don't know.
I mean, it's a putting routine, and I think it's something that a lot of people could use to have something, because even when you're in moments of like nervousness, being able to go back to a routine that you can go kind of gets you back into that mindset a little bit. I think it
Yeah,
actually could help a lot of players. I mean, we
Mhm.
we saw some putting issues from a lot of people this past tournament, and for those that are struggling, Yuli, who's one of the best Circle One X putters on tour, has told us that how many times he's changed his putts over the year of his form, because it's like when
yeah,
something doesn't work, you got to change something. You can't just keep beating a
yeah,
dead horse and hoping for different results.
Yeah, it's clearly working for you too, because if you look, last year compared to this year, your C1X putting is actually very, very similar. But if you go back to C2, you were around 26.8% for the year, but this year you're up into the 32%. So
Hmm.
you're seeing an increase in like the overall putting you're doing.
Yeah, and that could literally be one putt a round, which is 4 strokes, and
yeah,
courses like tournaments like this, 4 strokes. That's between first and fifth place sometimes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the course a little bit?
Yeah, I can talk about whatever.
Okay, because it was something that was brought up. A lot of people, I think, were maybe misunderstanding my take on it. So I'll give you my take on the course, and then you can tell me where I'm right and wrong, since you're the one that played it and you're the one that played it the best out of everyone this past weekend. So my take on it was, I just thought, from a viewer standpoint, me watching, not playing, it ended up being somewhat of like a boring course to watch. It, not just because there wasn't like those iconic holes. There wasn't like these, hole 15, I guess they did have like a lake short of the basket, but for however reason, that lake was, maybe the water was super low. We never could see the lake. So it didn't even look like you were ever throwing over a lake. So
Yeah.
outside of that, there was no water shots of where it's like, oh my gosh, scary to go over this water or anything like that. So there wasn't anything like that jumped out at me. And then a lot of times you had a lot of these short par fours. Now, obviously on the weekend, they moved some baskets, which I do think made the course a lot better. But you had a lot of these short par fours where you would throw a shot and it's like, oh, that wasn't that great of a shot, but it's okay. They'll probably still be able to like get to the basket. So it didn't really seem like the tee shot mattered all that much on a lot of the par fours. And ultimately, I just thought it was lacking challenging shots. Now, that's not to say that anyone and everyone is going to go out there and shoot well. If you look at the leaderboard, tons of people struggled on that course, tons. And we saw people like Alden Harris shoot 5 over on Saturday. And then on Sunday, he comes back and shoots like 11 under or 10 under. So it obviously had its ups and downs. But I'm saying, just from watching it, I wasn't really getting the sense of, okay, these guys are having to think. And obviously, maybe some of that has to do with the wind, but I'm also don't design courses thinking that there's going to be windy. You want the course to play a certain way without the wind. But I just didn't think that there was that much thought process of decision making. I thought it was very much so a course where it was straight in front of you, who can execute the shots the best, who can putt the best. And my only argument with that was, it doesn't really make for that much of interesting viewership for the first couple days. Obviously, Sunday, when it came down to the wire, that's obviously interesting. But my argument was the first 3 rounds, not very interesting to watch. And then the second thing too was, my argument was, do we want to have, what is a major course? Like, do we want to have a major course like this? Or do we want to see a major course that tests maybe the decision-making and stuff outside of it? That was kind of my take on it. I think people kind of took it a different route. But it is a major that I think added a different type of pressure, if that makes sense. Where you're looking at like Northwood Black versus this. If there was a major at Northwood Black versus this one felt like you almost could not make a mistake.
Yeah.
And so can you, like, I just talked a whole bunch. So can you talk a little bit about your thought process of the course and maybe some of the pressure that's different from a course where you have to shoot almost 50 under par to win versus a course that you maybe, a tournament you have to shoot 20 under?
Yeah. Going in, I knew, I don't know if I thought it was going to take 50, but I knew it was going to take at least like mid to upper 40s, depending on weather. Like it's a very attackable course, and it is just a lot of shots that are just right there in front of you, and you have to execute. I really only think of a handful of holes out there that are like real swing holes, like where like things can really
Go sideways.
Yeah, like it's like 7, 8. I mean, I saw it happen a couple times on hole 9.
The issue with 7 too, Calvin, was it was really hard for us to even see the gaps.
Yeah.
So what looked like the challenging part of 7 was that it wasn't wide open, or you couldn't just throw like a big hyzer into that green. You actually had to throw through gaps. We were, as viewers, unaware of these gaps. It was very hard to tell how big the gaps were or anything like that just from the camera angles.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, like seven, for example, like if you off the tee, if you got really up and left, there is a pretty open gap. And then if you got like way down the fairway right and stayed down the hill, the backhand gap kind of opened up. But anytime you were kind of stuck in the middle, you were kind of pinched on both of them, and that's when all those branches come into play. And you know, you have to like make a decision: do I lay up or do I go for it and whatnot. But for the most part, I agree that the course is like, there's not a whole lot of decision making. Like you pretty much have to be going for everything. Um, it definitely it scores easier than most courses, but that's only when you're throwing good
Yeah.
because the amount of out of bounds out there, it's basically on both sides of every single hole. So as soon as you're not throwing the disc well, like you could bogey every hole, and I wouldn't be surprised. But you also watch people that are throwing well, and they're basically jump putting to some of the par fours because of they launched a driver down the fairway, which yeah, I do think some of the par fours are kind of breakable in that way. Um, I think they could change some of the greens moving forward. Like there's some of those par fours they could push the baskets back a little, and like there is room for a little bit of difficulty to be added out there. And they did make some changes from the year prior.
Mm.
And I don't know. They said they were making it harder, but like I don't know. I actually think the course might have played a little easier this year compared to last year, just
That's what
because.
Yuli was
Yeah.
saying too. Yeah, he was saying
Yeah,
they basically changed a couple of the par threes that were tough par threes to par fours that were pretty gettable.
yeah. Yeah, there used to basically be like three par threes in a row that all probably played a similar distance to that one, like slightly downhill big hyzer par three hole 13.
Mhm.
There used to be, yeah, three holes that kind of played that same distance back to back to back, and like if you got like one of those, you would be like, okay, that's pretty solid. But with the two par fours, it was kind of like if you threw solid drives, you could definitely get up and down. Like I felt like it was way easier now to get all three of those holes than it was in the past. So
Mm.
um, I think it might have played a little easier, but um, I I don't think the changes were bad though. I do. I just think maybe they just need to. There's some of the easier par fours. I think they could tuck the baskets into some other tree pockets and whatnot.
Can you see though how maybe there are some viewers out there similar to how viewers don't, there are some people that are like the memorial when we had it at Fountain Hills. A lot of people thought that was very boring to watch because it was just
Yeah,
hyzers. This course wasn't like that. Very few times did we see you guys just throwing up, big spike hyzers, maybe a third of the tee shots or a fourth of the shots out there were kind of big spike hyzer shots. But can you see too how like viewers maybe look at this style of disc golf scoring wise for the top players and see how maybe they want it to be a little bit more challenging for the top guys? Because
yeah,
I think you were going to win this tournament regardless of how they changed the course because you were just playing incredible. It's more my view is always when you put yourself on a course like that to where you have a bunch of par fours that, hey, if you throw a shot 300 feet off the tee, you can still birdie it. If you throw it 500 feet off the tee, it's a jump putt birdie. Like when you start having that, it really allows players that aren't playing that well. And we saw that with Isaac, for example. Like Isaac had a really tough round three. Like he literally didn't know where his disc was going. It felt like after watching him play round two, where he knew exactly where it was going, and he still
yeah,
shot 9 under. So he was
yeah.
still able to manage with good putting and stuff. Can you see that side of it of where some players maybe want to see pros challenged with decision making, but also with maybe just tougher shots?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think typically, like when I think of courses, I like ranking, my top five or whatever. They're typically courses that play much harder relative to par. Like I like playing Northwood Black. I like going to Maple Hill. I like the Monster, which we're coming up and playing for
Yeah.
Worlds, and those are all courses where like every round you play, it's like you're never going to play the same round there. And I mean,
Hmm.
some of that's just because there's so many trees, and like scrambling is just like inevitable, as opposed
Yeah.
to the style of course that we played in Estonia. It's more park style. There's not really scrambling. It's just, are you inbounds or are you out of bounds?
Yeah. And I think a good way for people that aren't understanding where I'm coming from. Maybe you guys did watch live coverage and you're like, Brody, I watched round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4. I was on the edge of my seat. I thought it was awesome. I couldn't wait to see them play hole 10. I couldn't wait to see them play hole 12. If that's you, I think the best way of thinking about it is some people like watching disc golf on golf courses. Some people like watching disc golf in the woods. I think there's just different styles. Um, but my take on this, and I kind of made a weird analogy about it, Calvin, a couple days ago on one of our recaps, was I basically told Ezra he's like an alien and he's coming to Earth for the first time when we had Ezra on. And I said I gave him ice cream and he had it and he's like, this ice cream's incredible. And he's like, I want more. And so I gave him some more ice cream. And then like a week later, I gave him ice cream, but then I was eating ice cream with some stuff in it. And he's like, what do you got over there? I'm like, oh, it's just ice cream. He's like, no, there's stuff over there. Let me try it. And he tries it. And he's like, what the heck is this? I was like, oh, there's cookie dough ice cream. He's like, there's cookie dough ice cream? I'm like, yeah. He's like, this is way better. Why the heck have you been giving me just vanilla? And that's what I am trying my point to get around is like, if you are enjoying this type of disc golf, imagine if we're seeing the top players being pushed to their limits and having to throw shots that are super challenging and having to execute that, because we all know how hard that putt was on 18, but you said it yourself, like hole 18, the tee shot itself is not really that challenging of a tee shot. And I
Yeah.
just felt like there's a lot of shots out there where it's not extremely challenging. And I would have loved to see in the future, this is more not even this course, in the future, more courses setting up that are challenging the top players, because you guys are getting so freaking good. That's the thing. You guys are just too good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that is going to be an issue even for a while. I mean, the next generation is just going to be better than we are now, and
Mhm.
I think it's one of those things where course designers have to, they really have to kind of plan for the future, because it's easy to kind of design a course right now that you think will play okay and people are going to like, but 5 years down the road, the field's going to be better and it might be playing too easy. So if you want your course to kind of have some kind of longevity to it, you really have to put a lot of thought into it. And I don't know. I think we're slowly getting better and better courses.
Yeah, I agree.
It just takes time, and getting the right people out there, putting in the work and really thinking it out.
Yuli just joined us, guys. Yuli, what's up, brother? No audio.
Can't
It's
hear you.
okay.
Looking fresh though.
I was on mute. My bad.
Oh, he's back. All right. Yeah, Yuli, jump in if you got any questions for Calvin. I got one more, and then you guys can take it away if you got anyone. Oh, you got something off the top?
Well, you guys might have already discussed this, but I wanted to ask about what's the difference between like the grind of having to birdie over and over and
See,
over.
Yuli,
And
this is why you're on this podcast, man, because that was literally going to be my question. We're right here, Yuli. We're
okay.
right here.
Yeah, because
go for it.
we were
Great
talking about
question.
this last week, Calvin, that there's different there's different challenges at different courses, and this one to me was going to be the mental grind of like I can't miss, like every single mistake feels like the end of your tournament in a way, especially a bogey. So like,
Yeah.
what is that like going from round to round and being like 14 under, 13 under? Like that can be like a very, very, very steep hill to climb, especially early if you start off, even 1 for 3 or something like that. So
Yeah.
is that the biggest challenge, or is it easier at your level to do a course like this?
Um, I don't know. I think it depends on the day. I think like round one, I was throwing the disc probably better than I did all week, and I just wasn't executing putts, and it was like probably one of the most frustrating courses. It was just such a frustrating round to be inside circle one 15 of 18 times and miss six circle one putts and somehow end up only shooting nine when the course is, it's the tournament's a sprint, and like nine under just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
So like I feel like when you get it rolling and things are going your way, it's just one of those things where it feels easy. But I don't know. It's definitely a style of golf where I feel like when you start messing up, the pressure can get to you pretty quick because you really don't have that many more mistakes if you want to still be in it because someone's just gonna get through the course clean.
So
Especially
my
with the
next
pace.
question,
Go ahead.
my next question would be like, so you're birdieing a bunch, you're in a groove. At what point does it switch to being so easy and you're not even thinking about scores or anything like that? Because there's got to be a point like on the front nine where you're birdieing and you're like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, but I got to get the rest of them. Like, when do you actually hit that flow state in a tournament, especially a major like that? Like, when do you get into that groove to where scores now don't matter? I'm just going to execute and I'm getting a ton of birdies. Or are you constantly thinking about scores?
Um, I don't. I definitely, I know what I'm shooting. I know what my card's shooting, but yeah. So I guess I always am kind of thinking about scores just because I know what's going on my card. But I do think that there is a point where it just I don't know. I feel like for me this past week it was just I was throwing the disc really well, and like
Yeah.
it was easy for me to just like get to where I needed to be on the tee box and just like execute the shot that I needed to. And
Right.
and so like because like I wouldn't say it was like mentally easy the whole time. I definitely struggled on the green at points. I mean after round one I went out and spent some time on the practice green so I could just figure out what the heck I was doing wrong.
Hmm.
And but I always felt comfortable on the tee box.
Yeah, how difficult would that course have played had it been like 20-mile-per-hour winds? Had there been like consistent winds and people are like second guessing what disc to throw off the tee? Because Yuli kind of talked about a little bit on hole 8 how that hole was so challenging because of the wind that was coming through hole 8.
Yeah.
But we never really saw that much throughout, the announcers would talk about, oh, it's a little gusty out there, but we never really saw it too much outside of maybe some putts and people throwing their hands up thinking the putt should have gone in. But how difficult would that course played had it been a windy tournament?
Yeah, I mean it was breezy out there for sure. But yeah, if it was like a really windy tournament, it probably would have played really hard with all the out of bounds. Like as soon as it gets really windy, the out of bounds becomes a bigger factor. Making putts is a lot harder as well. So I think any course when it gets super windy tends to get quite a bit more difficult, especially when it is a course that's just lined with out of bounds. So um, but yeah, there definitely was wind. There was always kind of like this right to left wind off of hole 8. But like that was like one of the holes that I wasn't quite attacking as much. I kind of identified that as one of the swing holes while I was practicing, and I was just throwing it low, trying to minimize the opportunities for those big kicks out of bounds on that one in particular. Um, I was basically just trying to throw to circle 2 there every day.
I did like how on hole 1 from like the drone angle, it did look like they were messing around with some of the angles of the fairway instead of just having your normal typical, OB on the left, OB on the right. It did kind of look like it kind of pinched in So you were having like there was a couple, or sorry, it went this way. Sorry, it was so instead of it going like this, it kind of like was going up at an angle a little bit like this. And there was a
Mhm.
couple people's tee shots. I think like Isaac's tee shot. There was someone on round 3. I can't remember who, but there was a couple tee shots where like they were kind of pushing the right side and they barely cleared it. So I think that's also something they could mess around with on some of these holes is pinching in the OB in certain areas. So people that want to maybe try to get aggressive or like throw a bad shot, they actually are getting punished versus other areas. But we'll see. I do like hearing that there is room out there because I feel like the people that are putting that event together, they're going to be looking at ways to continue to improve that event year after year. So I love that. Is there
Gary,
any?
you
Yeah.
had something to
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
earlier,
Gary,
and I
jump
kind of
in.
interrupted you.
No, you're good. One of the other really sneaky factors I think about this round that not a lot of people are talking about is the pace of play. It felt like this round, this whole event was a sprint compared to like the marathon of waking up and knowing you got 4 hours. Like, what kind of pressure does that add? I feel like when you're in the lead, it's almost like a boost of confidence of knowing that we're rapidly getting to the end of this round. But if you're trying to play and get strokes back, it adds extra pressure because not only are the holes much more gettable, but time is almost like it feels like it's against you, even though technically it's the same round and same 18 holes. So what is it like to play around with the pace of play that quick compared to most tournament rounds?
Yeah, it definitely did run, very quick. I feel like in the moment, it's not something I like necessarily noticed too much. Like I would notice it afterwards. I'd be like, wow, it's only been whatever 2.5 hours. This is so quick. But like in the moment, I can't say that was like super aware of the amount of time that's elapsed, and I don't know if that like was something I put too much thought into. I guess it's kind of like with putting. Maybe it's just when I'm playing disc golf in general. I feel like my sense of time sometimes just disappears.
Hmm.
I think that is one thing that I did enjoy though. Rounds weren't taking 4 hours and we weren't getting tons of just it felt like it was constant action, which I think was really awesome. And now, does that have to do with how the course played? Maybe, but this is where it kind of goes back to I think some things maybe have to change in the future, having 3 people on a card instead of 4, having multiple cameras throughout the course so you can kind of get some footage and be able to show stuff if there is any stoppages along the way. But I will say like the product of disc golf being in that time window, I think is much better than like a 4-hour product. I think the 4-hour product's too long.
Yeah, they almost need to, I think, take what was the best about this event, which was the logistics,
Mhm.
everything around the on-site, how the event was ran, the speed, pace of play, and like how can we take that and combine it with a lot of what was brought up about decision making on the course and making those tweaks. I mean, imagine we come back here again, which we're going to, and they make those adjustments. They push the baskets back a little bit. Like I think one of the best references you made, Brody, was how on hole 2, I believe, the basket was only pushed back like 30 or 40 feet, but we saw the average score compressed from like half a stroke under par down to a tenth of a stroke under par. So little adjustments like that combined with pace of play, I think they have everything they need at this venue to make it a really solid place to play disc golf if they make those couple of adjustments. So the question is like, what do we do going from this to learn from it to make sure that we just keep improving all across the board?
Yeah. Go you.
How much did you guys talk about the end of the round and everything? Did you guys get pretty deep
Yeah,
into
we
that,
we
or?
went deep into Calvin's head, 17 and
You
18.
did.
If you have anything
Okay.
other than 17 and 18,
No,
but
I
we
want to know. I want to know. I'll have to rewatch it because I was curious of the thought process walking down um from 18 to the putt and what he was
killer
just this. Yeah,
killer mentality. Just yeah. I was thinking because Yuli, I would be fighting demons.
for sure. Yeah.
Me, I would be like, oh my God, Brody, here we go again. Don't you dare. Don't you freaking dare. And he said he didn't have any of that.
He was like, do I do a cartwheel? Do I do a double fist pump?
Yeah,
Like,
what is my Oh, did you practice the celebration? Did we have any? Yeah, was there anything that you're like, if I win this thing today, this is how I'm going to celebrate? Or was it just purely because your celebration was sick? Also, shout out to whoever was the camera guy that was like having the steady cam as you're running to the basket. That was like a sick shot. But yeah, was there any celebration practice in the mirror prior to your round?
No celebration practice.
Yeah, there was.
I don't.
Yes, there
I
was.
don't.
He's
I
been
don't think you can
celebrating that
practice
for
this.
20 years.
Yeah, that's the same one I came up with when I was like 12 years old. Practice putting.
We all do it. 3, 2, 1 at the buzzer. That's sick. Here's an interesting one. After winning a tournament like that, and one where, you have to be on your game at all points in time. Is there any changes in your practice leading up to Worlds now? Is there anything that you're like, okay, here's a shot that I really didn't have to have at this past tournament, but I know I'm going to need at these 2 events coming up? Is there anything that you're going to be changing or working on heading into Worlds?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of shots that you're going to need for Worlds this coming week that you didn't necessarily need at the Tallinn course. I think the Monster, you could need almost any shot you could possibly imagine at some point during that round. But then also just at the Beast, I generally throw a couple rollers on a couple holes, so that's not something I was busting out at all in Estonia. So there's a lot of different shots that I'll be throwing from Worlds that I wasn't throwing in Tallinn, and then also just definitely need to put some more time in on the putting green. Those all count, and I want to make sure that I don't have any bad putting rounds like I did in Estonia.
And the Monster has, the Beast has a little bit, but I think the Monster has several holes that the putting greens are literally designed for rollaways, literally designed for people that miss putts, for them to have putts, longer comebackers. And so, yeah, I think putting is going to be an absolute premium at Worlds coming up with just how some of these greens are designed.
Yeah.
In disc golf, we talk a lot about timing. Everyone always talks about how someone is gearing up at the right time for this event and whatever. But there's something that's really unique about you, Calvin. It's that you are always like, your timing is always on point, because when you look back over the last 3 or 4 years, your average finish at majors is only 6.6. You're always in the mix, and we see that with how you've played this year. You're always kind of in the mix. So Brody kind of addressed the physical component of like how you prepare. Do you, now that you have a win under your belt at a major, do you approach the World Championship mentally any differently? Or because you're the kind of player who's always very consistent, are you going in with that same level of thought process that you normally do? Or is there something different now?
No, I don't know that it's that different. I guess I haven't thought about it too much. I haven't even really made it to the World's courses yet, but I think there's quite a bit I need to go in there and break down. The Monster was a course I struggled at last year at the European Open. I think I played like 2 of my worst tournament rounds of the year out there. And so I mean, I didn't actually recover at that tournament. I was well outside of the cash until I put together a couple double-digit rounds at the Beast. So I think for me personally, I got a lot to focus on and get ready for.
So we have the King of the Hill coming up. I'm not sure if are you aware of the King of the Hill on Tour Life? You might not be. It's a new segment.
Okay.
So it's a new segment that Gary creates, and no one really knows how it's created. We don't know the algorithm behind it. It's kind of almost similar to like how the PDGA does their Player of the Year. No one really knows how it works, but I'm going to give you 30 seconds or a minute, however long you want to take, to give Gary your best pitch on why Calvin Heimburg should be at the top of the King of the Hill.
Recency bias should be like the biggest reason. Yeah, I mean, like if I make all my 45 footers, like there's like how could I lose? You know?
It's a pretty good
I
point, honestly.
It's very compelling.
yeah, I don't know if I need much more. I mean, I didn't go out of bounds a single time last week.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That might be the craziest stat. 0 OB shots in all 4 rounds.
Yeah, bogeys were just on the putting green, but you know, we got over that. So
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Yeah, gee, I wonder was he you had to have been the only one to go bogey OB free.
He was.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
only one.
Probably by
Yeah.
a bunch.
Yep. Next closest was 3 out of bounds strokes.
Jeez. Also, big shout out to you too, Calvin, because I was making a joke. Obviously, some people took it a little bit more seriously than others, but I was basically making a joke of having back-to-back majors and being like, hey, like this major in Estonia, like no one's going to care about it because Worlds the next week, which there is a little bit of truth to that. Everyone cares about Worlds. It's the biggest tournament. Everyone talks about it. But I think you winning the tournament, that is going to 100% help this tournament kind of live on throughout the year and, hold on to that a little bit more than, let's say Gannon wins another one. I guess Paul winning would have been pretty big too. If Isaac would have won it or something, I think a lot of people would have moved quickly on to the World Championship, where now you winning it in the fashion that you did. I mean, this has to be, since I've been watching disc golf, this has to be one of the, I'm trying to think. I probably have the Holy Shot as my number one, like major championship moment. Then I got probably Paul's putt against Kyle Klein at USDGC in the playoff. And then I think this has got to be probably 3. I think this is probably the am I off there, guys? I know that was kind of off the rip, but can you think of any other bigger moments than this one?
I would put Paul's putt. I would put Paul's putt on 17 at the Worlds to push Goose.
Yeah, that was huge.
Was kind of nuts. Like the shot that he threw
That
under
was
the
crazy.
trees, and then
put that at number 2. Calvin stays at number 3, and then Paul's putt at USDGC goes to number 4, because it was like a circle. It was like a 33 footer. It was just outside the circle. But yeah, no, cool stuff. Does anyone have any other disc golf questions? Because I have one non-disc golf question.
I think no.
Gary?
Nope.
All right. What's the rock life out there, Calvin? How are we doing with the rocks? Is European rocks crazy or what?
I haven't looked for any rocks. I have no clue what the rocks are like out here.
Are you planning on searching for some rocks?
I mean, you got a little bit of time here.
I'll have to do some research. I don't know what Finland has to offer. Actually, I think someone has told me there's a couple things to find in Finland. I just need to research it.
All right. If you're listening to this and you're from Finland, hit up Calvin in the DMs over on his Instagram and let him know where to go for rock. I got to feel like you got to be doing some sort of European rock adventure.
Well, look at his shirt.
It's crazy go to a different continent and not even look for rocks.
Look at his shirt, Brody. He's busy doing Heimburg's handyman service.
You think
He's
I
out here
can read
fixing
that?
houses.
You think I can read that, Gary, with my eyesight? Yeah, what is that shirt? What are you wearing?
Handyman services,
What is that?
It's a shirt. I don't know. It's where my friend works.
Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you get a handyman service? I don't even know what that is. Any big plans though? Any celebration stuff, or are we going straight into Worlds prep?
I did too much of that already.
Okay.
Too much celebrating. I'm done with that. It's off to Worlds.
Sunday and Monday was plenty of that?
Sunday was enough.
Okay.
Sunday was enough.
Gotcha. I was gonna say you gotta be careful jumping on a ferry after too much celebration out there being on the waters. Get your what is it, Dramamine? What is that called? Am I saying that right? Dramamine? Wait, dopamine. I think that's an illegal drug.
It's a different thing, bro.
Yeah, I don't think you
chemical in the brain.
Yeah, okay. All right. Dramamine. There you go. All right. Well, Calvin, I know it's late there. We appreciate it. Any not spoilers, but any like sneak peeks of things coming soon, discs or anything like that? Any drops? I'm sure something's in the works potentially. Anything you know of?
Yeah, I know we're in the works on a disc, I think, for the win. I think it might be some Eagles, so the people might be getting what they want.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
we'll see.
And the people are asking for it. We got it. Do you got any new pet peeves? Any maybe European pet peeves?
Ooh,
Like
European pet
maybe like
peeves.
the seasoning and food over there or something, or
Dude, it's just I think the
not
worst thing
serving ice
is
at restaurants in your drink.
is when you go and you buy a bottle of water
Oh
and
no,
you think it's still water
that is the
and it's just not. It's
they,
just there's nothing worse than it.
they
I was
need
on
it.
hole one. All everywhere. I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They also
I
make
even
it
shook it beforehand. Like, all right, are you like nothing happened? I'm like, all right.
because I'm sure we've all gone and
good.
bought in the wrong water, right? You just go in and you kind of forget and you just buy a water. But there are plenty of times where like I'm in the store and I'm trying to freaking read these labels and they don't make it super simple. I don't know what I'm buying. And then you shake it to try to like see like if there's bubbles and they all have little bubbles. They all have little air bubbles. You don't know until you open it. Should they make a mandate to where like carbonated water has to have
Has
like
bubbles.
a yellow cap? Like
Or just bubbles all over it. Like, just
oh
show me.
yeah, like just little
bubbles on the
something.
wrapper.
I don't know.
Show me.
That to me, that would be a red flag to me on a first date right there. If I go on a first date and she orders sparkling water, immediately no second date, no matter what. Oh yes. What? I have to worry about my future life. Do you know how annoying?
I like a good sparkling water, just not when I'm practicing disc golf.
But imagine though marrying someone that loves sparkling water. So like you go into your refrigerator and you're like, gosh, I really need a drink right now. I'm so thirsty.
Well, my wife did
and
that.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. It burns. The carbonation burns my throat. I have some sort of illness or I've got something.
You haven't had like a good little sparkling water that has like a little hint of like cherry flavor in there, and it's almost like having a soda, but you don't have the soda, which is bad. You have the carbonation.
No, I'm telling you, I have like a serious illness. I have it. I don't know. I don't want to call it.
We know.
I don't want to call it a disease, but I have some. I don't know what the proper word. What's the proper word? It's not a disease or illness. It's a
condition.
I have a condition. I have a throat condition where anything that's carbonated literally feels like I'm drinking glass. It literally burns.
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, none for you.
I was the person that showed up. And
You're a juice guy. You're a juice guy.
I could drink some apple juice. I could drink.
Yeah, dabble in some juice.
Yeah,
sure.
I absolutely love some juice. Wait, I had one more thing for Calvin before he left. It was pet peeves. It was what he has coming out. Oh, Northwood Black, worst shot triples. Are you in or are you out?
We'll have to see because I'm playing Turku, so then I fly back on Monday.
Dear God.
And then I don't know how I'm going to
You're going to get him. You're going to get him.
I'm going to get him on like 5 hours of sleep. It's going to be me and
5 hour worst shot
me and
triples
Ezra
the hardest course in the world. I have to see that actually. Yes, please do that, Cal.
My favorite.
He's a major winner now. He has to be careful who he's on video with. He's a major winner now.
My favorite thing about worst shot is like we would always have someone would throw first. And it's like, all right, well, at least we know like the worst shot's out of the way, no pressure. And then someone right behind it would throw an even worse shot. We're like, how is that possible? Okay, well, if it's possible, let's do it. If not, then maybe we'll have to do like worst shot at Idlewild or something to give the people what they want.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to run back a worst shot. triples round. I don't know. Ledgestone might be a tight squeeze. Being
Yeah,
a
that sounds
yeah,
that sounds a little bit rough. So, all
yeah,
right. Well, Calvin, do you have anything else? Do you want to shout out some sponsors here?
yeah. I guess thanks to my sponsors for keeping me out here on the road. Innova Champion Disc, Squatch Disc Golf, Flight Factory, Millennium. They all support me, and thank you guys for supporting me as well.
Well, Calvin, you're a fan favorite here. We always appreciate you coming on. And now you don't have to ever answer that question again of like, hey, man, when are you going to win your first major? Because you're a freaking major champion now, brother. Congratulations, man. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Take it easy. Get AB on here now.
Yeah.
Get him on here. I see him sneaking in the back. Get up. I mean, he can't just look over your shoulder and not think that we're going to have him on the pod. AB, I see you staring. What's going on? How are we doing? How's Finland?
Just took a shower.
How are we feeling going into Worlds here?
We just got we played the course today. Winning this whole set. It's in great shape. I'm playing it a lot more.
What'd you say? You're playing what?
Here. I said we played Tappan Disc Golf Center today, but I'm gonna need a lot more rounds to get comfortable. Because it's a hard course.
What's it like jumping from the course you just played to that one?
Really, it's a completely different game because you have to throw great tee shots. Like, especially on the par fours, you have to throw 2 perfect shots just to get yourself in position for birdie. Whereas last week, you could have shanked a shot and still save birdie. So it's a completely different game.
So we were asking a lot of people on their thoughts on the course. So I'll leave it up to that. Like, what were your thoughts on this last week's course? Did you like it? Did you think it was it had a good challenge for what it was asking you to do?
Yeah, I think it was really fun. I grew up on park type courses like that all over the West Coast. It really felt like I kept making a joke like we're just playing La Mirada out here, like it's playing the same exact way with these pretty soft par fours. But there was still a couple holes that are pretty challenging with a lot of OB, and it really was more of a mental battle than anything, honestly. Just trying to stay locked in every single shot. Whereas on harder courses, you can kind of just get out of your head and play really, really bad out there. You really have to push to birdie every single hole because it feels like everyone's just birdieing everything.
Yeah, what was the pressure like going into that final round, knowing that you pretty much had to play perfect, but then also needed a little bit of help from the guys that were ahead of you?
Yeah, I mean, I was super locked in and prepared for that final round. I started off 8 for 9, and I was really making a push, and then I just lost focus for 1 second on a wide open 240-foot upshot and threw it into a tree, and then threw a bad shot on the next hole. And then after that, I was like, all right, 12 under is not going to do it today. We're just going to push for a decent finish.
Yeah, it seemed like that course was had a different kind of pressure of where it was you couldn't make a mistake. You had to be locked in on every shot, every putt. And the courses that we're going to see at Worlds, everyone's going to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Everyone's going to throw bad shots. And it's going to be about how you recover. Can you scramble? Can you still somehow give yourself maybe a 60-footer for birdie? And it's going to definitely test a little bit different skill set out there. Because I think one thing that's interesting right now with disc golf is, for the most part, the best players are pretty much the best across the board. It doesn't really matter. You drop you drop Gannon, you drop Calvin, you drop Paul, you drop them in any course, they're going to do well. So there's not really, we don't really have specialists that much in disc golf, which is interesting. But how do you think your game is going to fare on these Worlds courses coming up?
Yeah, I think the Beast plays pretty almost similar to European Disc Golf Festival. It's a lot of birdies, some short par fours where you can make a little bit more mistakes out there. But Tampa Day, Tampa Bay Disc Golf Center is like it's just a bunch of long, like what I think as like hyzer flip to like late flip shots that you gotta. It's just I don't think there's another course with more demanding, like power, like professional, like top of the line, like shots out there.
Mm.
It's definitely in a league of its own.
Yeah, I look forward to you playing New London because I think Paul did a great
Yes.
job out there too of
Okay.
making some challenging holes. There's definitely a fair what you're describing of like the par fours of where it's like you have to
Yes.
throw two really freaking good shots to even give it a look. There's a
Yeah.
lot of par fours at New London that are like that. So I think you're like that. I think a lot of people are going to like that course as well.
Yeah.
all
Like
right,
how
well-
I was comparing last week's course, I was like, I would step up to a hole and I was like, okay, my dad could probably birdie this hole. And it would happen 10, 11, 12 of the 18 holes over there. But at Tampa Bay Disc Golf Center, I genuinely think he can only birdie one of the holes. So
yeah,
that's kind of like, that's how I
yeah,
look at it.
it's last week's course. It's it's a thing of where it's like you could have someone that's way worse than you go out there and have the round of their life, and you just have kind of maybe a bad putting day, and your scores would be really, really close. But you're way better than this person. But then you take them out to, these world courses, or heck, take them out to Maple Hill, take them out to USDGC, take them out to some of these courses. It's like, brother, on your best day, you're not even getting close to these top guys. So there is a little bit of a difference there. Definitely felt like this tournament was more of like who blinked last, who was able to just not make mistakes. And obviously Calvin not throwing an OB shot the entire tournament, being the only one in the field to do so, is kind of a crazy stat. And
that is insane.
A rightful winner for sure. All right, we'll let you go, but I have one more question. Do you not know how far you throw? Like, are you
talking about that shot on hole one or for the
No, I'm talking
distance comp?
Yeah, I'm talking about the distance comp. Are you still like shocked that like you actually throw far? Or are you just like, oh my God?
Well, I like practiced that shot before the distance challenge, and I wasn't getting anywhere near it, like throwing full flex. And then once we got the crowd and all the adrenaline pumping, I don't know, I just kicked in an extra gear and somehow got it to the hole. I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when you talk to everyone, they'll put you at the top of like, no, he throws really far. But then they'll also be like, well, this guy's really close and this guy's really close. And we saw some of those people in that contest. They weren't close. It is you're currently in the league of your own. I do want to see you and Gannon though, because Gannon did post something in the offseason where he like threw like a 700-foot shot. And I know that you guys only had 2 goes at it. Or I guess technically you had 4, right? Because you had 2 in the first round and then 2 in the last round. Do you think Gannon is the closest one after seeing like what he posted on social? Or like who do you think is the next in line for after you?
I mean, I don't think Gannon's that close. Like that video he posted, he said it went like 791, but he like admitted that wasn't true. But I think after me.
Wait, where did he admit that? Did he admit that?
He told me, because he's just saying. Because like you watch the video, there's no way it went 790 feet, and I was like, asked him, I was like, that's not true, right? He's like, yeah, and I was like, okay,
all right.
I think after me, it's got to be between Rasmus Salkaripi and Kristen Kuoksa for like right now, just pure raw power and speed. They're definitely on a level that's pretty similar to mine.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know who those players are because I believe they both are European players, and I don't think they go to many tournaments in the States. But if you go and check them on their social medias, they do a lot of like speed work. They're doing a lot of stuff specifically to try to increase their speed. Are you doing anything like that, or are you mostly just playing? Obviously, you've been getting in the gym some as well, but are you doing anything like disc specific work like they do?
Not like super disc golf specific. I'll just do like explosive drills like during the off season, but while we're playing on tour, it's mostly like maintenance workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to try to get stronger and faster every off season and keep keep pushing the boundaries for what's possible. So
Yeah. Hey, you're going to make these people have to make these courses longer and harder. So there you go. Well,
Yeah.
good luck coming up.
Thank you.
I gotta ask, and you can get pissed off at me for asking, but I'm gonna do it because I know you can handle it. How does it feel being the best player in the world now to not have a major?
Oh, yeah, doesn't feel great. So I'm gonna have to change that. real
Check that
soon.
off the list.
Only
This
2
is
more
a
weeks.
good one
Yeah.
to do it right here, AB.
Only
Yeah,
2 more
you're
weeks.
You're
right.
gonna do it. This
You're
is
right.
the one right here, brother. Well, we're
Yeah,
all
this is
wishing
the
you the
one.
best of luck, man. It's fun watching you play, and I'm sure you're gonna do great out there, and we'll all be watching.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me. I'll
Good
go
luck,
get
brother.
you.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right. Bye.
AB, I like him at Worlds, Gary. I
Yeah.
like him at Worlds. I like him at these courses.
His last 3 majors, second, and fifth. So like he's right there knocking on the door.
And I think him and like Ezra are very similar of where there were courses back in the day of where it's like, I don't want to pick this guy. But Yuli, we were just talking about with AB. I think him and Ezra are similar of where there were certain styles of courses that I'd be like, I don't like them for this course, where now their games are so complete to where I don't have that. I don't have that worry.
yeah,
And I think these 2 courses for AB, I mean, I think he's gonna be throwing that forehand all over the course at the Beast. I mean, all over the course. And it's such a deadly weapon to have that forehand. If you remember back when Eagle and Paul were going back and forth, Eagle was juicing that forehand, I believe, all over the place as well. I think that was prior to his injury. So I guess I don't know what is our situation next week? Do we know yet? We don't know what our podcast situation is next week. I don't think we do. Do we? No, we don't.
We're doing Tour Life.
In case we don't have a podcast next week, I think we will, but in case we don't, does everyone just want to give their take on who's going to win this thing? Just their favorite to win.
I mean, I think we should pick like 3, like your favorite 3 guys.
Let's do this. Pick 2 that you think are going to win, and then you got to pick one of the top 10 guys that is not going to win. So 2 that's going to win, and then someone that's a top.
I have to live with everybody, bro.
You're not staying with all top 10 players. Get out of here.
I'm going to see them on the course, and they're going to be like,
well, no one watches this podcast, so you're fine.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, the simple answer is for sure Gannon.
So you're picking Gannon as a winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And out of the top 10, who's? I mean, I gotta go with my boy AB.
Yeah,
for
Gannon,
sure.
AB. Okay.
And then who's not?
Yeah, this is a tough one.
No, it's not.
In the top 10.
Wait, Gary's got an easy one. Wow.
Can we do 2 top that you think is gonna win, and then like a dark horse that you think is gonna be right there?
If you don't want to be if you don't want to be a negative Nancy, then yes, that's fine. Go with your dark horse pick. Me and Gary will have the negative Nancy for the podcast.
I gotta go with Laurie.
Ooh, good pick. I like that. Okay. All right, Gary.
I think anyone who doesn't take Gannon in the could wins doesn't understand like consistency over that many rounds.
It's 5 rounds. It's tough.
Gannon has to be one of my picks there, and I'm torn between like AB and Isaac, but I'm gonna lean on the power requirements, and I'd love to see Isaac do a three-peat, but I'm gonna say AB's there. Gannon and AB are my top 2 for worlds across the board. When it comes to people in the top 10 who I don't think are going to win, I hover over 2 names, and that's Ricky and Adam Hammes. I don't think either one of them are in the top 10. I think Ricky has a better chance than Adam does, although when Adam pops off, he is an incredible player, so he could very well prove me wrong. But I just think that Yeah, I don't think that Ricky or Adam are going to get the win.
Who won this event last year? Who won the European Open last year? Was that Corey or was that 2 years ago?
No. Gannon.
Gannon did.
Gannon won last year, and then Corey won 2 years ago.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna pick Gannon, and my secondary pick for winning. Gosh, do I might have to just go dark horse on this one.
Ooh. I bet you're gonna do it.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
He
Mr.
almost won Worlds before. He was this close to winning Worlds before.
The Goose Man?
Give me the Goose Man.
The Goose Man.
Give me the Goose. Did you see his final round? He had one of the best final rounds. He had to make a pretty big pressure putt. His putt's looking better. And we're talking about courses that a power forehand, being able to scramble. The dude is people forget he is still one of the best players in the world off the tee. He really is. He really is. And we're going to be having demanding tee shots, lots of forehand scrambles. And
he is the best off the tee. He is.
Is he still
statistically? He's second in both C1 and C2 in regulation.
Yeah,
who's got to be Gannon?
Best in the world is going to be Gannon Burr for both.
Yeah, Gannon. Okay. So I mean, yeah. Gannon doesn't count, right? So yes, he is the best.
You know what though? The fact that Isaac is just not going to get picked again is a wild. It's a wild thing that we do everywhere.
We only have two
I know,
picks.
but how is he not the number one?
It's less egregious that I
year?
chose AB and more egregious that he chose Goose. So
yeah. But and then of course I think somebody that's going to have a really deep run, especially with 5 rounds, who's been playing fantastic all season, is Niklas.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of pressure, but he thrives under that pressure, and he said that on here before that he likes when he feels the pressure. Like that's what he plays his best. So I like Lowry, but Niklas is.
He's going to come in firing too, because he was not happy with his performance the final round last week. So he's going to be coming in looking to dominate. All right, my pick for who's not going to win. I got to pick a good one here. I got to go like spicy because I feel like there's some names in the top 10 right now that aren't really that spicy to pick. Like if I say like a Kyle Klein, like I think Kyle's going to do really well. I think he'll probably get a top 10. But I think like he's not really on the radar of winning this thing, right? So I think really the who's not going to win, it's going to be between Ricky, Calvin, Isaac, AB, Niklas, Macbeth. I think those are the names that you got to pick someone out of to really get. And I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go Macbeth. I'm gonna do it, Macbeth. But he could win. That's the thing, is he could very well. Like this could be the one.
Ricky too. Like Ricky hasn't won in a long time.
Yeah,
that guy finds out ways to win.
I know. I thought he was gonna be a little bit more in the final chapter of this past one, and he just could
He's still got his name in the mix there for a little bit.
He finished 7th, but like it was.
That moment, like it's like the Calvin thing. Like when you're giving yourself that many opportunities, a player of that caliber eventually is going to break through. And he's the only one in all of those categories, besides maybe a Kyle Klein, that hasn't won yet. So you got to think like the time's coming.
Yeah, and all those guys that I listed, those are all guys that absolutely could win this thing. What the game was for those that, because that easily could be clipped by someone and then all of a sudden I just get a bunch of negative hate towards me. The game was you had to pick a top guy that you didn't think was going to win. You have to pick someone. So all those guys can win. You're just trying to get lucky and pick the guy that doesn't, because only one can. But I think this Worlds is going to be phenomenal. I'm really freaking looking forward to it. And you guys played Tampere today?
Yeah.
How's the infrastructure and stuff? Because I saw that one photo with
And
the
it's not up
stands and
yet.
stuff.
It's not up. There is on 18. And if you want to check out 18, you can go to my Instagram and watch a little clip.
Oh, wait, maybe we can get Mike to pull. Mike, are you able to pull that up?
Yeah,
for
there's
the
a pretty cool little clip of 18 that we did today.
don't pull it up. You have to go to Yuli's Instagram. You have to go to Yuli's Instagram to watch.
Follow while you're there.
Yeah, go follow and like it.
What do you think of the setup with going to the Beast first, Tampere for second and third, and then finishing with 2 rounds of the Beast?
I don't like it personally. I always think it should be one the other, and then one. But
is that
2
just
back to
logistics,
back?
Probably.
I don't know. I just think it's the fairest of going back and forth.
No,
Otherwise,
I'm wondering, is it logistically?
Oh, why did they do it?
I'm wondering if it's logistics why they did it.
It's the people.
I would, yeah. I would prefer the same course every round. Then, like, first 3 courses are there, and then we go, or like to flip. I don't know. It just seems a little bizarre to flip, and then 2 of the same.
Yeah.
And I think that the monster, the fact that it's not the 4th round, it's crazy to me. Because of the big separation you can get there. You can gain yourself a little lead, and people behind can really make a jump, and I think the storytelling's a lot better when you have action like that. The Beast is just a complete sprint, like you have to shoot between 8 and 12 if you want any shot at it. So
yeah, I would almost like 2 at the Beast, 2 at the Monster, and then finish at the Beast. So it's almost like you have to get yourself a lead, and then you have to protect your lead for 2 rounds going into the finish. But I think it's because we've seen it all year long with Portland and the Open at Austin, where they're choosing the course that looks the best and it handles the spectators the best. Because I think they're expecting on those final 2 weekend days to just have more people than have ever showed up to a tournament ever before. And let's be honest, pictures of the Beast with people lining the fairways is probably some of the best pictures we have in disc golf.
Yeah, and the thing is it will be interesting to kind of see how in the future majors change, because the last time we had a major that really boiled down to where like it was really anyone could pop off and a lot of people could struggle is probably Champions Cup last year. I just looked it up. Presnell won Champions Cup last year, shooting 4 under the final day.
Yep.
You know,
dodging branches too.
Yeah. So he also won by 4. So he just kind of boat raced the field there a little bit
without his main putting putter. It's crazy.
Kind of nutty stuff from the Prez.
You know, when you asked AB the controversial question, I thought you were going to ask him if he's still scared of hole 16, but you didn't. That wasn't the question you went with.
No, I think hole 16, that debacle that went down, I think that was mostly due to being in that position and not really being ready for that position.
Yep.
I think now he's such a different player now, way more seasoned. And I think if he did mess it up, because that's, again, if he messes it up again, like a bunch of people are going to mess up that hole. It's a hard shot. It's a lot of pressure. I just think he fixes it. I don't think he's the type of person to fall down that rabbit hole again. Similar to maybe what we see from Calvin now, right?
Yeah.
With this big putt. They did change 16. I don't know how it's playing. I think.
Yeah. They said that if they couldn't get the bunker rule approved, that they were going to have something in play to make it equally or as close to as difficult as it was before. I
think it's going to be how 7 played this past week, of where you don't advance. You can advance up to where your disc was last in bounds, but you don't advance the island. So I think it's actually going to play easier.
They should have that finalized by now in the caddy book. I'm going to pull the caddy book real quick.
Yeah, see if you can find that. I think if I remember, I think that's how you do it. Of where it's if the disc doesn't land, if the disc doesn't land on the green, then do we have it right here? PJ Mike's got it. Caddy book, Nokia.
Yeah, I'm looking at hole 16 now. Island. Oh, wait, this is really tiny.
Oh, what the heck did I just click? Oh, here we go.
That's where they have it at.
Oh, I can zoom in. All right, here we go. So it says island green. Any throw must come to rest on the island green to be able to mark on the island green. Throws that do not come to rest on the island green must play from where last inbounds on the inbounds fairway with a penalty throw. All throws made from the island green itself. Okay, so if they didn't change the OB, which it looks like they did not, like where like the OB was, it looks like most people will be able to advance to I can click to see how far it is. Oh, this is actually incredible.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing they do with this.
You can kind of wait. No, it's not letting me do it anymore. Wait, what? What? Oh, I have to drag it.
Yeah, you have to drag.
Oh, that's actually kind of hard though. Okay. Well, I'm getting close. It looks like it's like 50 meters to the OB, the edge. Yeah, 50 meters to the edge of the OB. So that's about 150 feet. So, but if you're like back where we land, Gary. So if you're back where
it's gonna be like a 250 to 275 foot shot.
Yeah, because you're gonna advance sideways.
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to advance all the way up at that little finger spot because your disc isn't going to. Well, if you throw the backhand, we might see a lot more backhands because of that now, Yuli.
Yeah, because you
get 16 because
further up.
Because you would, if you throw the backhand hyzer on 16 now, you would advance all the way to the edge of OB and then have a really short shot in. Versus, if you throw. Yeah, if you throw, it's 163. So if you throw the forehand, that's going to be really interesting, actually, to see what players do because the forehand is a much easier shot into the green, but you run the risk of if you go OB, you're still going to have to throw like a 300-foot shot, probably 250, 300-foot shot, where if you throw the backhand, you advance all the way to the 163 spot.
Yeah, so if you want to go for it, you can get the birdie if you want to play aggressively, or you can play passively. So this is a very big decision-making hole down the stretch.
I like that. I still think it plays better as hazard. Personally, I think the OB stroke, I don't love it as much, but I'm glad that they have this versus the drop or whatever. What is it called? The drop zone, which is like it's just a putt. Yeah, so I think this actually will play pretty well this year. This will be pretty good. All right, we have a couple listener questions to end the pod. And here we go. What is with someone says gonna need a spotter on that finger to tell if it crosses? Yes, 100%. You're gonna need someone up on that fairway to make sure you know where the crossing is happening. This is a good one for you, Yuli, since you do have you want to shout out your putting thing for anyone that's watching that maybe wanted to show up. When is that putting going down?
It was about 4 hours ago.
How'd it go? How'd it go?
It went well. Yeah, it went
awesome. Well, if you're listening to this after the fact, get wrecked. But since you just taught it, maybe putting's on your mind. You can answer this question. What is up with FPO players in the putting yips? I can only think of one MPO player, Simrad, that only had one incident of the yips, the 4-time air ball clip. But with the FPO, it's so common. We see it from Kona, Hannah, Evelina, Allie Smith, Katrina, and now with Kristen. What is up with that?
I think sometimes it can be contagious for sure. If you don't have the right thought process with your putt, I think I think the biggest thing that I see in just putting in general is people don't understand their putt. And so they just they're just, I don't know, it sounds weird, but they're just trying to make it. And then when they miss, they don't know why. And then they keep going until it goes in, and then they just keep doing that. And I think having a deep understanding of like the way your mechanics work, why you're doing what you're doing, the exact pressure that you have in your hands when you do it, where you're releasing it exactly, and you only focus on like those key ingredients, like basically what is my hand doing at the very end when the disc comes out? If you understand that and you try to replicate that and don't worry about anything else, then it's easier to correct because it becomes more of a feel than a full motion, if that makes any sense. You know, you when I teach, I try to really focus on the very, very, very end. And then I tell my students, what does that feel like? And then when we're putting, make them putt until they miss. And then I ask them, what did that feel like? Why did that happen? Because I think the biggest problem is people don't know why. Like it's embarrassing to miss in front of people and they you know, like they look around, they turn around and discuss or whatever, to where, you know, a good analogy is the best putters in the world. And I can even say like a Paige Pierce or Paul Macbeth, when they putt and they miss, they stand over it. They don't leave the location. It's very rare you see them miss the putt and then just storm off. You know what I mean? They sit there and they're analyzing their mistake. And that's a really tough thing to do. It's actually, I think it's one of the most important things is to understand your misses more than your makes. Like makes should be in the circle, especially should be just completely normal. And I think it's a it's a thought process that a lot of people get flip flopped. And I explain it a little bit like this: like when you're beginning to play disc golf, like in general with any shot, your your most of your misses are happening all the time. And so you're when you throw a good one, you focus in on the good shot because that's what you're trying to learn, right? Because that doesn't happen often. And so eventually you get to a point where actually more good shots happen than bad shots. And that's when the flip has to happen. Now you need to focus more on your bad shots. So why did that happen? Because that's not normal. You get what I mean? I think what happens is a lot of people get stuck in that other mindset of when a miss happens, they forget about it, like in the beginning.
Well,
And I
that's
think
also
that's a
like
real
something that's been told. Like, oh, forget it. Don't worry about it. I think that's
100%,
something
100%.
that has been told to people as
It
well.
is, but
Good
that's how
point.
you learn. That's how you
Yeah.
learn, right? It's just the way that we're trained to learn. And so if you get stuck in that mindset, what happens is you miss a putt and you want to block it out. Like, oh no, don't think about the miss. But there's a healthy way to do it. If you can trick your brain into being like, no, this is actually more important than my make. This is more important for me to analyze why this happened right now. It's more important because it's not the normal. And so you key in on it, and then that's why I tell them I want to know why you missed. Tell me, what did it feel like? Did it catch your finger? Is that why it went straight right? Did you hold on to it? Did your mind go blank? Like you need to figure that out because once you do that, it's really easy to then understand it right away and fix that small problem. And I really think that in the moment, and especially with the yips, is it's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that's why you saw her pick it up and do it again really quick because they want out of there. Like it's an anxiety ridden like couple seconds. It probably feels like forever. When in fact, I believe that if she would have missed the first one, laughed it off, and been like, I know exactly why I missed that. I just rushed it. I pulled it to the right and stood over it for a second and corrected it. The next one's going to be easy. And so that's like the long-winded answer.
I think what you
If that
said
makes
there,
sense.
yeah, I think what you said there is actually fascinating, so interesting because if we dig a little bit deeper into it, I think something that a lot of players can think of, and this is to everyone listening to this podcast, is the target we're throwing to is so massive that just getting lucky, you're going to make putts
Happens,
when
yeah.
you get close. And so if you're focusing on that and not actually your misses, like you said, you're not actually going to get better. If I take Kelsey and give her 10 discs from 20 feet away and say, hey, try to make this, she's actually probably going to maybe even make more than she misses just by pure luck of it being such a big target. But then if I gave her a basketball from the same distance and I said, okay, try to make this, she might make one. She might, like, the luck factor is so much smaller. So I think you're right, Yuli. I think there are a lot of people that putt and they don't really know what they're doing, but it occasionally goes in the basket. And so there's like, all right, well, I'm on to the next hole, versus what you're saying is really break it down to where as soon as the putt comes out of your hand. And a good thing that I practiced a lot in golf, which I don't know if I think you probably do it also in disc golf, is actually putt with your eyes closed. So keep your eye on the target, and then right before you putt, close your eyes, putt, and then try to say where it is going to end up, because that is giving you the idea. That's basically helping you. I did this a lot with golf, with putting, like speed, is you would putt with your eyes closed. And if you missed, you had to say, I missed short, I hit it too hard, I went left, I went right. And that really helps you kind of feel yourself in space. And if you're not able to do that with your eyes closed, Yuli, when you're putting, that really just means you're just chucking the disc up there and hoping the chains get in the way.
It is. And then when you get into a high pressure situation and you don't understand your putt and you don't know why you miss, that's when the anxiety can really take over your body, because now you're in a place of, this could for sure happen again, and I don't know why, and I can't stop it from happening. You know what I mean? To where if you are really analytical about it, as far as the very end result, and it's not about making putts, it's about making a stroke the same every single time, and making sure your hand's opening the same every single time. If those things happen, correcting mistakes is really easy, because another thing I tell them is I say, make a putt, hold it there, and remember that. I want you to make a putt and be like, no, that's what I want it to be like. I want it to look like that, and I want it to feel like that. Once we key in on what we want, everything else is bad. And we only that's when it's okay to focus on the good. Even if it goes in, like, that's still not good enough, you know? I make a ton of putts, and probably 70% of the putts that I make, I miss.
Yep.
But they're going in. They're not exactly the way that I want. But I'm so keen in on, okay, this is a perfect stroke. This is exactly what I want. That the way that I like set up my stance and set up my body and the rules that I have for my putt, I make a ton. It's still not a perfect putt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's tons of tons of putts in the videos that I've put up on YouTube of me right after I putt saying no, because I know that it was not what I wanted.
Yeah.
And a lot of those still go in, and people will laugh at you, right? And be like, wow, dude, it still went in. It's like, yeah, but it wasn't what I was intending for. And that's, maybe one of the reasons why I want to see a smaller basket, right? Because it is tough when you throw a bad putt and it still goes in.
Well, I was really mad at a couple this last weekend that went in, and I was like, that's so, like, why is that so terrible? What are you doing? And there was a European on my partner. He's like, dude, what's your problem? And I'm like, I basically airballed that for my standards. It's in there, but I airballed that thing. I call it airball makes. Like, I make a lot of airball makes, because it's not even, it's not close to being good at all. The result is good, but that's why I believe I've become a great putter, is because I don't stand for that mediocrity anymore. I want it to be, I just want to make my stroke, and it's easy, and it's an easy motion. And if I can't go from here to here and open my hand, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, a cool image is Tiger Woods' old putter, and you can just see on the metal there's a spot that is just completely different. It's a dead center sweet spot, and which is kind of crazy to think about how many times you have to putt. I don't know, Mike, if you can find that, throw it up here, because it is a crazy photo. But that just shows you too, like, same thing in disc golf. I'm assuming you go to like Gannon's base. Yeah, there you go. You go to like Gannon's basement. I'm assuming one of those chains is probably more worn out than the other ones,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the one that he's just hitting putts and putts and putts. And that's what you got to do to be great. Your misses got to get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Well, and my last point is I hate when people are it's a weird analogy, but I hate when people are trying to make it. You should not try to make it. You should try to make your stroke. The result after will be the disc going in the basket. But if you don't have a stroke that you are keen in on and you know the movement exactly, then it's going to be random spread. Because once you open your hand, that thing's going. If you do it correctly every single time and you open your hand, I don't try to make putts. I try to make a stroke, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Love it. We've got following the on-site success of the EDGF, is it a good idea to bring the Pro Tour to more venues catering to spectators and install a temp course to fit the venue? What is the short-term and long-term trade-off of urban venues? This is a good one for both of you guys from the player standpoint with Yuli and then also from the fan standpoint with Gary. Yuli, do you want to go with that one first?
Yeah, you know what I think? I think there's a lot of public parks out there that are gigantic, and I think they could be great disc golf courses. And if you can dress them up and have I guess the crew or the resources to be able to dress them up in a certain way like this, you can still make a very, very difficult disc golf course as well. It doesn't have like you can shape whatever fairways and out of bounds that you want. And if they're in places that have a lot of people that would come out and watch, then I'm all for it. And I think that should be a priority of finding those places because you just pop it up, for a week and a half. All of a sudden you have a great place with a bunch of fans coming out, easy travel, easy, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm all for it. Until we have private properties that
where it's like
are
legit courses.
Exactly. Until it's a disc golf course, I would love to see that. I mean, right now we have traditional golf courses, and that's pretty easy because you have the land,
The
you
infrastructure.
have the clubhouse, you have all those things kind of set up there. But if there's a way to do it like this, why not? If we're just going to go take over a traditional disc golf course, why couldn't we just go into the middle of New York and set something up for everybody to play? I mean,
Central Park, that'd be wild.
Right? Central Park, sure. I mean, we did that's basically what Vista was. So we can't, and it was great.
Close it down.
You can't close it down, but if you could, it could still be a fantastic tournament.
Absolutely. Gary, what are your thoughts on from viewing in a spectator standpoint?
Yeah, I think you have to, if we can find a way to bring together both a spectating experience in person that makes a lot of sense for people in an area that makes a lot of sense to get a lot of people out for, that's really, really crucial to the growth of the sport. But we also have to be able to make sure that it's good viewership online as well and find the balance point between those two things. I think the only thing that really scares me about going to a course like that is we don't have the same support here in the States that we do overseas for pop-up events like that. And until, like we said, I mean, you kind of took the point that I was going to make, which is until we have private property to build these courses, I'm always hesitant on building something and it goes really well for a year. And it's like, we can't go back there again because of this happened. Or, I mean, look at the Beast. We're losing this one. And so we build up a lot of really wonderful history here. And ultimately, as no fault of the PDGA or the Pro Tour, we're not going to be able to play this course anymore. So if we want to start building events, now if we're talking about just like regular Elite Series events where we have these really cool,
I think that's what we're talking about.
Pop-up events. Yeah. But if we're trying to do anything, the big thing is the more people we get there and the better it looks on camera and the better crowds we have. I'm trying to think whatever the sponsors want to see, because whatever we can get sponsors behind is that's what they want to see on the course. And maybe this is where we combine with like some of these groups that have put there have been courses put in large public parks in major city areas. Like maybe we work with them, we find out what avenue they took to get that course put in there, and we start those conversations. It would be neat to see that be explored as like an experiment, maybe next year or a year coming up, where we take a large urban area and we try to put a course in the middle of it.
And this is kind of going against a little bit of what I said earlier about the course difficulty. People that don't care about the course difficulty are the sponsors. Sponsors do not care how hard the course is. If you have an event that's going to get a bunch of eyeballs, they are going to want to provide sponsorship there. They want to be out there. And so, yeah, maybe this is a way to maybe get some new people, especially having your event, Yuli, like this one was such in like the town center, right? There was probably a lot of people walking by that were like, what's going on? They probably didn't even know what was happening. So it can get the word out there a little bit more. And yeah, I don't hate the idea at all. I really don't. I think it could go maybe the avenue that like road racing goes, right? Like road racing doesn't have like the marathons and stuff, the Boston Marathon, the New York Marathon, all these big road races. Those aren't like tracks that are just for running. Those are roads that they shut down for this event. Maybe that's the avenue disc golf goes for a bit.
UFC is about to go to the White House. Let's run it.
There we go.
There you go.
Little disc golf course right around it.
Little tiki course right around the White House. Last question is a dunk update. So I'm currently down right around like my weight's kind of fluctuating right now because I'm changing up I'm increasing my running and my lifting. So my weight's kind of fluctuating right around 225. So I'm getting down there, but putting a lot of miles on the legs. The knees are feeling stronger. I think I'm going to start jumping probably in August. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right,
but
all right.
I'm feeling good about it. Yam Sauce 2025 is still in full effect.
We're bringing a hoop to Ledgestone.
Okay, just for like a tester. I'm sure we could probably find a hoop.
There's gonna be
I don't think we need to bring one.
We're getting a pickup game going at Ledgestone.
You guys got anything else? What a crazy week, though. Crazy week.
It was awesome.
We got a couple days to recover, and then we're right back at it with Worlds starting. Is this a Tuesday through Saturday, or is this a Wednesday through Sunday?
Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday. Okay, so a week. We're a week away starting tomorrow. So it should be exciting. It should be good stuff. And thank you guys all for listening. I know it was a little bit early for everyone that caught the live. Thank you, everyone that's watching this.
How many did we have?
We got over 650 people in here. So
that's
pretty
solid.
Pretty
nice.
good for a little
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, pretty good for a little early tour life action. So thank you everyone for supporting the podcast.
Oh, wait, I want to throw my Bessie shout out for sure.
Oh, yes.
Bessie's been working out great. I haven't slipped at all. I haven't slipped even a little bit. They're amazing. Bro, did you get your pair in yet?
Yes, I actually have 3 pairs of Essies.
Yep. I just tried them for the first time as well.
Yeah, I wore them when we were up filming a bunch of stuff for Foundation. I wore them the entire time. I'll say this, very comfortable. They don't seem like bulky and heavy. And I will say they do have good tread. The only thing, and maybe this is something, Yuli, you can pass along to them to maybe work on. The only thing is I would love them to create maybe a specific tread for like slippery, like a little like wet dew grass.
Dew, okay.
Like when it's like you're playing around in the morning and there's a little dew on the grass.
Yeah.
I would love for them to have like a little bit of like I don't know what the right terminology is, but like a stronger tread, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because that's the only time that I'm a little bit cautious wearing them is when it's just a little slick. Other than that, though, I thoroughly enjoyed them.
Yeah, I was a big fan.
Love that.
Yeah.
And we'll put that little discount code in the description too for you guys.
It'll be in there for you. It's right there on the screen. If you're listening, Vessi.com/Yuli for 15% off. Turf tread. That's what, people are saying turf tread.
Okay.
Nubbier. We want more nubs.
Another year.
Yes, more nubs. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Thanks for our guest AB jumping on, special guest AB, and then obviously the major champion himself, Calvin Heimburg, jumping on. It's a goal of ours to get Silva on the podcast at some point. I think that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I think eventually we're going to be able to get her on. I think she's going to be a phenomenal interview. Very, very.
Same.
I have tons of questions for her. But thanks for Yuli popping on. I know it's late over there. Gary, thanks for jumping on. And Mike, Jake, thanks for jumping on during the day. And thank all of you guys for watching. We really do appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one.